There are some wonderful ancient monuments in the Turkish-occupied part of the islands. In antiquity, Salamis was the most important city on Cyprus. The oldest finds date back to the time of the Greek settlement in the 11th century BC. The earliest mention of the city is found in texts of the Assyrian king Sargon II from 709 BC. Any remnants of the archaic and classical periods of Salamis still lie hidden beneath the protective soil. The parts of buildings that can be seen are nearly all from Roman and early Christian times. This horned god of the city from the 12th century BC originates from the imposing city of Enkomi, which once stood just a few miles west of Salamis. This ivory sphinx with faience ornamentation once decorated a royal throne in Salamis in the 8th century BC. The tall and graceful pillars of Salamis are like something out of Homer's Iliad and a reminder of Toikos, from that other Attic island and city of Salamis, who, when he was exiled by his father, King Telamon, founded his own Salamis here on Cyprus. Kantara, the castle in the Pendadactylos Mountains. This bastion was erected by the Lusignans, one of the noble families of France, who turned Cyprus into a flourishing kingdom and base for crusaders between 1191 and 1489. The view ranges down over the slopes to the north coast, and to the east it stretches as far as Famagusta. When danger threatened, the defendants used to employ smoke signals and beacons to warn the castles of Buffavento and St. Hilarion further to the west. Near the north coast, in the tiny hamlet of Davlos, the Denktash regime have done their best to create a new reality. Here there's a wrecked and plundered Orthodox church, and only a few yards away, a newly built mosque. Anyone visiting Famagusta nowadays is confronted with a small town of no more than 20,000 inhabitants. What was once an international port has now sunk into insignificance. Only a small bazaar and the many fine examples of Gothic architecture bear token to what was once a thriving city. The former St. Nicholas Cathedral is a masterpiece of French Gothic that was built between 1298 and 1326. Famagusta capitulated to the Turks on the 1st of August 1571. Since then, the cathedral has been used as the Mustafa Pasha Mosque. Kyrenia, which used to be one of the finest harbour towns of the region, shows all the ravages of the Turkish occupation. It's a place that enjoys all the blessings of nature and history. Fishing boats and yachts rock lazily to and fro in its romantic harbour, and it would still be possible to while away an untroubled holiday in Kyrenia if it were not for the thoughts of the times before the Turkish invasion, when more than 4,000 Greek Cypriots were living in the town. Today it's inhabited by some 8,000 Turks, only a minority of whom are Turkish Cypriots. You can search in vain for any streets bearing Greek names. The Turkish-occupied part of North Nicosia has experienced a slight upturn in the last few years. The Haydar Pasha Mosque, until 1570 St. Catherine's Cathedral, still stands at the heart of the city and is the most important Islamic place of worship in Cyprus. Built in the French Gothic style, its foundations were laid in 1209, but it was not ready for dedication until 120 years later. With great attention to detail, several historical buildings in the Turkish quarter of Nicosia have been carefully restored, including the old caravanserai Büyük Khan. It's an early Ottoman construction dating from 1572. In contemporary terms, caravanserais were set up throughout the Arab world as motels for camel trains, where both the journeying merchants and their animals were provided with food and accommodation. The part of Cyprus's capital that is not under occupation, particularly the old town of Nicosia, the Laiki Hitonia, is a welcome oasis of peace and quiet. The letterboxes and telephone kiosks, as well as the left-hand drive on Cyprus, are a remnant of British rule which continued until 1960. Encounters with nature are always a source of fresh delight on Cyprus, and that is particularly true when you're on foot. The impressive Avakas Gorge on the west coast of the island near Ayos Yorios is a must for all those looking to experience the best in nature. Sun and the deep blue sea, the coast of light, snow, skiing in the Troodos Mountains on the slopes of the 6,000-foot Mount Olympus, empty beaches, and the sensational treasures of a UNESCO World Heritage location far from the trammels of mass tourism. Those are the delights of a winter holiday on Cyprus. And then the spring, with all its explosion of flowers.